Hello and welcome to another video with myself, Rev.Arlene C. So this video is with the intention of adding on to the community post I created today, which is February 21st. I will attach the link to the community post from here on my YouTube channel, as well as on my Instagram page, so that if you haven't seen it yet, you can read through it, and then this video will make so much more sense. So what's been kind of amazing, right, when I see it from this other perspective, right, where even though sometimes being in the human aspect and it's not that I'm not seeing it from a sense of consciousness, but there's so much more emotion, I guess, attached, right? When we are trying to, or figuring out how to integrate all that is transpiring and taking place, right? Where often we do go through the struggle of understanding and seeing it from that, conscious higher aspect of ourselves, but then the human aspect of ourselves, which is our ego, it does fight and resist. So with that being said, I've been experiencing it through conversation with others, but then I'm also just kind of also seeing it manifest in other ways in my reality around me. And this is really, when you think about it, it really is just a continuation of many posts and videos, right? Because really, when you kind of get down to like the meat and potatoes of whatever word you want to use, right? When you get down to the nitty gritty of what it all is, really the message is often the same. The core value of the message. And that is that we're going to go through such fluctuations of what we are experiencing physically, emotionally, spiritually, right? It's all body, mind, and spirit, right? Where it really is that holy trinity of our being, of ourselves. And that is so much of what is taking place now. And it's just this continuation, right? Especially, so again, so I have to kind of go back a bit. I don't know. And you will most likely see in a lot of my videos where I kind of have to do this like big, weird detour route, right? Of you going through all different, kind of going back and forth, right? Like we're dancing the cha-cha, right? Back and forth. And then back again, and then forth again. But, or with our GPS system, recalculating our route. So that is often what I feel like these messages, like when I make these videos, I feel like I'm constantly going all over the place, because you need to bring so many different aspects to help the human version of us to understand, right? And to kind of make a point. So, okay, so with that being said, so as I've said in many other videos, we are all experiencing different realities. We are all coming online at different times, at different rates. And it doesn't really matter. It's not like one is better than the other. It's not one is more special. It's not that one is more this or more that. It's just different. And that's okay, right? And we all need to experience it at our own rate, because if you try to project or imprint your process, your belief, your need for that person or that situation to speed up, you're only deterring it, right? And you're going to be met with a bunch of resistance, right? Where it's like, even when you think about yourself, right? Like, sure, you appreciated maybe watching videos and listening to other people, but you also knew that you had to figure it out on your own, because then that's when it made sense for you, right? And that's when it's like it gave you those aha, those click moments. So also with that being said, a big aspect too, or something that I strongly try to interject or make known when I use the word heal or healing, it is understanding that healing does not mean you're broken. Healing does not mean you're whole or not whole, sorry. When I talk about healing, to me, it is the activation of remembering. It is you coming online, right? So it's like all of a sudden you've finally been triggered to another level of conscious awareness within yourself. And then as this continues, that consciousness becomes deeper and it becomes a way of living, right? It becomes an intention that is held and done every day, knowing you're waking up every day being conscious, being aware of your consciousness, being aware of every choice, decision that you make or don't make. Okay, so to try to reel it back a little bit. So as I was saying, we are all going through these immense stages and cycles right now. It is often difficult because, as we said, the human, the ego, and not to diss the ego, because the ego, we need our ego, right? We do need it. But as you begin to evolve and grow and expand that consciousness, you begin to understand the role of the ego and how the ego chooses to represent itself and play the game, right? So with that, then that will change and shift how you play the game, right? So it's understanding that. So understanding that the ego has a job to do, but if you understand the ego and what its job is, then that helps you to understand how to maneuver within the game of this human reality. So again, with that being said, something I'm noticing around me is some people are going through a deep shift in activation. And it's interesting sometimes because, again, it's the ego, right? And the fact that the human really does not enjoy anything that makes it feel discomfort, right? It does everything it can to like play around it, right? It's like ping pong, like you're just trying to get away from it and around it, and yeah, you just don't want anything to do with it. You will try to avoid it with everything you have instead of just surrendering to it and letting the feelings happen with as much limiting self-judgment and judgment about it, right? And I've said this before in other posts and stories too, and like videos, is that understanding the difference between feeling and emotion, right? And so we'll say it again. A feeling is just a feeling. It is anger, sadness, joy, shame, guilt, right? For example, emotion is the story we've attached to those feelings. So, I'm sad because of blah, 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 blah. I'm mad because so-and-so, blah, 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 right? Fill in the dots, right? Fill in the blanks. So, it is important to feel the feeling, not go through the story. Because the story keeps, if you keep focusing on the story, then you're focusing on keeping that cycle alive and active, and you're giving it more life, you're feeding it more water, you're feeding it more and more and more and more. And then it just amplifies and amplifies and amplifies to a point where really it almost no longer becomes the original source of it, right? Like the original point of it. And you've just made it into like this huge monster that really doesn't exist. So, okay, I veered off again a little bit. So people are right now, I feel, there's some people who are going through a deep activation. They do like to call it the dark night of the soul, which our soul doesn't have a dark night because our soul knows everything and is everything. It's the human having the dark night of the soul, right? It's going through the darkness because it's afraid of the darkness, when understanding that we were made from the darkness and that light hit it and kind of like separated it and created all this. But anyways, that's a whole nother, that would just keep us here a lot longer. So understanding that we are made of the dark and the light, and we need both to continue to go through this journey, right, and integrate it and form that unity consciousness within ourselves first before we could really even grasp the idea of unity consciousness outside of us too. And so that was another part of what I mentioned in the post, is that everything is an inside job, right? Anything that you're struggling with does begin with you, because everything is just a projection or a mirror to what you're experiencing. And even, not to get too much sidetracked, but even those who, use the word empath too, right? Often it's not that you're not just that you are feeling what other people are feeling. They are projecting back to you stuff that you're feeling within you. So really, you're feeling those things in the beginning until you understand, again, how everything kind of works in this game. You are really just feeling yourself through other people. So I'm just going to leave that there for you for a second, but we'll continue with the whole point of this. So again, so many are going through these activations right now. There are very many people are coming to this intense coming online within themselves. And you're going to be feeling very foreign in your own body, in your skin. It's going to feel so uncomfortable. And you're going to feel like you're going crazy, right? Like you really do. You feel like you're going crazy, like, you need to be put in, like in a mental institution or something, right? Because you feel like you're just at this huge extreme. And I just want to tell you that it's normal. And it's what's going to, and it's, for the majority of people, it's what it's going to feel like. It's going to hurt to be in your skin. You're going to feel itchy and, noticing, like drier skin, cracks in the nails, more aches and pains, struggles with sleeping. For some people, it even manifests through purging of bodily fluids, right? So that's going to be coming through a lot. So it's all these things, understanding that this is a clearing that is happening. So all these things have to truly arise to the surface. And in many ways, because we are in this human body, it comes through our pores, right? Like that's, all these things come out through us. So it comes out physically through us so that it can make room for our light body to activate even more deeply. And as I said again too in other videos too, as you are beginning your activation and you are ascending, so the human consciousness is ascending, your true soul, your true consciousness, the one that knows everything, is going in deeper within you, right? And kind of meeting in the heart when you think about it, right? Because it's all these things are to activate our heart into truly opening. And that's even something I struggle to really find words to describe, because that heart opening is something so hard, that is so difficult for the human to truly grasp and understand in our limited understanding, until you're very much deep in this work and you've gone through really like deep layers where you're going to feel such levels, and going through such levels of discomfort and pain and grief, to levels of joy and ecstasy, right? It's just, you're going to, and there'll be times you're going to be feeling such polar feelings simultaneously. But that's all part of this, right? Because again, it's understanding that nothing is linear, right? As you begin to evolve and grow more and become more conscious as well in that activation, you're going to realize more and more how unlinear things are, how, what's been placed on us of expectations and the timelines that we're supposed to, be, or the milestones we're supposed to be hitting and doing these different things. We're going to just kind of realize, like, that's just really bullshit. Like, that really doesn't jive and it doesn't make sense. And so more and more we begin to surrender. And it is our ego that is surrendering, right? And that's the other thing, is understanding it. So it's also good to just repeat that to yourself. I surrender. My ego is surrendering. My ego is surrendering, right? Because it is the ego that needs to surrender to this. And about allowing a moment, and again, it's going to take time. This is like any kind of practice, right? Any kind of new skill. It takes time to build it and harness it and find your own routine and your own rhythm that works for you, so that you can activate these aspects of yourself when you need to. And you will notice that it's not that it gets easier, but we're going to use the word easier just because that's something that the human understands. So, you find that ability to support yourself in ways that you struggled with before. So, you begin to identify these triggers sooner. You go back within sooner and be like, okay, I just got triggered. What is this rising, bringing up, inside of me? What did the person say that caused, or what did I see or feel or sense? Like, what memory came back up? There's all different scenarios of what will cause a trigger within you, right? So as much as it's important to kind of question yourself and bring it back within, it's also finding that fine line of not getting stuck in it, right? And it's always about being the observer of those emotions and feelings that arise, and trying not to get stuck in the cycle of the why, right? Because we get so focused on why, because we think that's how we're gonna heal it and figure it out, when often it's just about allowing it to rise, to feel it, and let it move through. Because when we try to figure out the why, then we're limiting and resisting, right? We're bringing, again, resistance to true healing and true awakening within ourselves. And like I said, it's the rewiring, the unlearning all that we've learned. So really the point of this video is just that it's so important to have, such compassion for yourself right now and always, right? And then that will mirror out into how you interact with the world and those around you. But understanding that these intensities will always fluctuate and they will change, and you'll constantly go through different stages, right? This is all different stages, and sometimes it is a new stage, or like you can feel new stages that you're going through and feeling, and then there'll be times where it's like you'd be like, but I already went through this, but now it's just another layer to what you've already experienced, right? Because again, we are these constant layers within ourselves. We like through the, constant levels, if you want to look at it that way too, right? It's like we're like an elevator. We're going up and down, up and down, up and down. But really, it's not going backwards, right? Because sometimes too we get wrapped in that thing of like, oh my God, am I going backwards? Am I regressing? No, you're not. You are experiencing a new level to the stage that you've already worked through, but now it's coming through with little subtle changes so that you can again shift and evolve and heal deeper and continue. Because if we were just given everything at once, that's it, we'd be like fried, right? We are a computer system. We would fry our motherboard if we were given everything at once. So it's beautifully designed to come in these little pockets in different ways so that we can process and then integrate. And rest is going to be super important. So resting as much as you can. And again, in that resting, it's understanding the false illusion or the illusions of time, right? So understanding that if your body needs you to lie down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, do it, right? If you need to go to bed at 7 o'clock, go to bed at 7 o'clock. Like your body is telling you what it needs, and it's important that we listen to it. And that's also going to affect the way you eat, what you drink. It's your body, again, it goes through all these stages, right, of what it needs so that you can flush out those old programs and then integrate the new ones that are rewiring you into remembering and activating your light body so that you can continue your consciousness process and the process of remembering and opening and awakening all that you are within you. So that's kind of, I think, it. I felt like that was a lot of information. So thank you so much for being here, surrounding you all in love. I truly appreciate you, and we will chat soon. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your week. I can't believe it's Wednesday already. Love you all.